Hello everyone, welcome to another exclusive podcast organized by Gyanberry. My name is Shagufa. Along with me today I have Miss Sukanya, who is a senior counselor at Gyanberry, and our special guest for today's evening is Miss Katherine from Aachen Freshman Institute of Applied Sciences. So we welcome you, Miss Katherine.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be with you today.
Yes, and we are really looking forward to speak to you, know more about the institution, the courses, and so many interesting stuff I'm sure you have to share with the students and parents. So after you give a brief introduction about yourself, Ms. Sukanya will also be taking you to the Q&A section where we have tons of exciting questions from our students and parents. And I'm sure after looking at this podcast when it's live, they will have some amazing takeaways. So I will hand over to Sukanya now. Sukanya, over to you.
Thank you so much, Shagufa, and welcome, Miss K, as I always call you. And it's such an amazing to see you once again. So before we start, you want to say hi, hello to our students, and then we start with our Q&A.
Okay, well, welcome. My name is Katherine Stone, short K, as I've been working with Sukanya and Gyanberry Agency. I think it's been for over 10 years now that we've been working together. And it's been a great relationship, and I'm really happy to be able to be in this podcast today and to present the freshman program and answer your questions.
Yes, thank you. Without any further delay, let me start with the questions. So, to start with, could you please explain us what exactly is a freshman program, and maybe you can just talk a little bit more detail about the unique features, facilities, and what makes this institute stand out for the incoming students?
Okay, well, I'm going to start with the basic information with it, which is, what is a Studienkolleg? A Studienkolleg is the German word for a foundation or bridging program, and it's for students who don't meet the German government requirements for direct admission to a bachelor's degree program after you finish school. And the freshman program is a unique kind of Studienkolleg, a unique foundation program, because we have a special focus on students who either don't meet the German government requirements for direct admission to a Studienkolleg, to a foundation program, so maybe, or want the extra support that we offer in our 10-month program, or who want to study in English or don't know German. We offer several options for people to start in English and in German, or who don't know German at all. And this is unique pretty much in Germany. Of course, anyone can apply. Even if you do meet the government admission requirements, we're also happy to see you.
Great. So to start with, I think students are at least understanding what is a freshman program. And now to further take this forward, since you have mentioned Studienkolleg program, there are a lot of students who ask this question whether it's a private or a public Studienkolleg program.
Okay, the freshman program is part of the FH Aachen University of Applied Sciences, which means that the German government, the FH Aachen is a public German university. This means that the freshman program is part of a public German university, and the freshman program is supervised by the FH Aachen through the Freshman Institute, which is one part of the freshman program. On the other hand, as you probably, many of you are aware, the German government doesn't charge tuition to students in most cases. However, since the freshman program is not paid for by the German government, in other words, not paid for by my taxes, that means that we must charge fees to cover our expenses. But we're not a profit-making organization. We just need to cover the expenses of the program.
Okay, thank you so much. Now to move ahead with the academic overview and the admission and the application requirements, could you provide an overall understanding of the academic programs which you had just mentioned, that freshman program offers a lot of other courses as well? So if you can just give us a brief overview of the programs which you offer, and what are the most popular ones among the students?
Okay, well, the freshman program, we offer 3 tracks, we call them. We offer the English to German track. This is our oldest and our most popular track. This is where you start in English and in German. That means you don't need to know German when you apply. During the course of the freshman program, which is 10 months, we teach you German, and at the end you can apply to one of our guaranteed programs. So we offer guaranteed admission at this time to the FH Aachen in 5 bachelor's degree programs in engineering, or to 4 engineering programs at the University Duisburg-Essen. So that's our English to German track. Start in English and in German. We offer 2 more tracks. We have our English track FEP. In this case, the entire freshman program and your bachelor's are completely in English. And our third option is what you might be familiar with from other Studienkolleg, other foundation programs in Germany, is the German track FEP, where you need to have previous knowledge of German in order to start, and then we build your German up to the level you need so that at the end of the year you have a high level of German as well as your academic courses. Our focus is on engineering and business. We also offer medicine. Engineering is offered in our English to German track with guaranteed admission. Business is offered in the English track FEP, so completely in English, or in the German track FEP, completely in German. We also offer medicine if you have previous knowledge of German in our German track FEP. You can prepare to study medicine, biology, or psychology. Our most popular program, and actually the oldest program, is our English to German track to prepare students to study at the FH Aachen. We started with this program over 25 years ago, and we've continued to develop and improve it over the years. So we now have a program where the students are usually quite successful in studying in German, even if they didn't know any German when they started.
Great. So I will definitely ask more questions about the M course since you have highlighted that for the medicine. But before that, I have certain questions about the key differences between the freshman program offered by FH Aachen and any other universities or institutes. Why students should choose the FH Aachen freshman program?
Well, there are a couple of good reasons. Number one, you don't need need to know German to apply. So those of you who don't know any German but still want to study engineering or business in Germany, we can help you with that. The other reason is that we offer guaranteed admission to specific programs. As I mentioned before, we offer 9 bachelor's degree programs at one of 2 universities in the English to German track. We also have, which is quite unique, guaranteed admission to 1 business program in our English track FEP. So this is also an option. The program is called Business Administration with Informatics. It's at the FH South Westphalia University of Applied Sciences. Quite a long name, I know. And there we have every year students who study business with the focus also on the informatics aspect of that guaranteed admission. So this is an option in the English track FEP. You also have other options. You're not just limited to that program. Where we are unique is that we admit students who do not meet the standard admission requirements to German universities, which you can see on the ANABID webpage if you're familiar with that, or the DAAD website. They talk about that as well. We admit students even if they don't meet those requirements for a German Studienkolleg, a German foundation program. We do this through our entrance exam, which is offered online. You can take it either online, or we will be offering it in the spring 2025 in Dubai, and Sukanya will have the details about that after this podcast.
Right. So my next question is, how is the module, like in the freshman program, what students are expected to study and how they can prepare for the bachelor's program?
Okay, well, as I said, we offer a focus on engineering and science, or business and economics, or medicine. All of the programs are full-time. We start in the 1st of October and we end, depending on the program, in May, June, or July, depends on which program you're in. It's a full-time program. Some of the students, depending on your program, will have an internship. Everybody is offered German lessons. And then you have, for the engineering students, you have your math, your physics, your language course, and in some cases chemistry. Depends on your specific program. Each program is structured a little differently to exactly meet the requirements of the university where you will be studying afterwards. Business students or future business students get business math, economics, and their languages. And future medicine students, of course, have physics, biology, chemistry. Preparation of language courses, German language course to prepare to study medicine. Everybody ends with final exams at the end of the year. Everything is timed so that you have a chance to apply to the bachelor's degree program.
Right. So my next question is, since you had mentioned that students are not required to have the German language proficiency prior to the enrollment. So if a student wants to choose a track which is English to German track, so how will they teach the German language, and is it sufficient that time? Is it sufficient for the students to learn the language?
This depends a little bit on what you're planning to do. Future students of the FH Aachen, we offer for those students in August and September a 4-week online course, live and online with our German teachers and future students of the FH Aachen, so that when they arrive in Germany at the beginning of October, they have completed their A1. Of course, future students can get their A1 at another institution. You could go to a Goethe Institute or another language school, but some people this is not accessible, so we offer this as an option. So they start with A2. The students going to Duisburg Essen start with A1 at the beginning, and during the year you have lots of German lessons. Future students of the FH Aachen, because they need to achieve A2 B2 by the end of the freshman program. They have approximately 25-26 hours a week of German lessons, in addition to their math, physics courses, and other courses. University of Duisburg Essen, they have a little bit less because they are only aiming for B1 instead of B2. It is possible. The teachers speak mostly English in the first part of the year up until December, at which point in January they start switching over in your subject classes, in your math and physics classes. They will start switching over to teaching you partially in English and partially in German, so that by April, May, you're listening to your math and physics completely in German. Our teachers know, our math and physics teachers know that your German isn't perfect, and they take the time, if you don't understand something, to make sure you understand it. It is possible. What I have to say is, though, that you have to do the homework. You have to go to class and you have to do the homework. It doesn't come out of the air.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that completely. So the next question is, will the students who are taking the English FEP track, will they also be learning the German language in the freshman program?
It's students in the English track FEP W course for business and economics. They do have German lessons, and there is a test on the final exam. The students in the English class T course for engineering, these students at this time, there is a German class offered. It's optional so that they can learn basic German to live here. It's not tested at this time on the final exam, but since they're living in Germany, they should learn German, and that class is also included.
Okay. Now coming to the progressing bachelor's degree, one you have mentioned the Aachen University of Applied Sciences, and then we have University of Duisburg Essen. So could you please highlight some academic requirements and how students should be choosing which track, like which progression they should be taking forward?
Okay, well, this depends on what the student wants to do. In the English to German track, our focus is on engineering. There are at this time 5 options for the FH Aachen and 4 for the University Duisburg Essen. I don't know if I can do screen sharing here. It doesn't look like, oh, my mouse isn't working. There it goes. Okay, let's see if we can get it to work. Is that okay? Did I do a screen share here? Okay, let's
yes.
have a look here. Here's our freshman program homepage. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, and if we look here underneath what can you study, you can see the options that we have here. And we see the English to German track, the English track FEP, and the German track. Let's have a look at the English to German track here. Here you can see a brief description of the program. And here you see the options for the FH Aachen and for the University Duisburg-Essen. So at this time, at the FH Aachen, you have the option of applying to applied chemistry. New this year is biotechnology, so a relatively new field of study. Electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and medical engineering. Those of you who are interested in computer science, the medical engineering does have a focus on programming medical devices, medical engineering with informatics, and so that's an option if you're interested in an applied, hands-on focus on computers. University Duisburg-Essen, there's electrical and electronic engineering, mechanical engineering, metallurgy and metal forming, and structural engineering, which is, structural engineering is very similar to construction engineering. So that would be Bauingenieurwesen in German, for those of you who know that. So what's important to know here is that all of those, as you can see, I hope you can see that they're light green. You can click and read about programs, and then that will help you make your decision. So
I can see the mechanical engineering in both Aachen and Duisburg-Essen. So if a student is interested in mechanical engineering in particular, so is there any different criteria or it is just the language of instruction? There's a difference in language of instruction.
Okay, there is a difference between how the classes are taught at the FH Aachen and at the University Duisburg-Essen. The FH Aachen, as you can see in the name of our university, is a University of Applied Sciences. This means we're very focused on hands-on, on being able to actually physically do the work, but of course there's a lot of theory involved. The University Duisburg-Essen is a university that's more focused on the theoretical aspects of the program. They also have internships, of course. Everybody gets hands-on experience in our university labs. That is the difference. The details of which courses are offered, it's best if future students have a look at the individual details. University Duisburg-Essen, the classes do tend to be larger. With the FH Aachen, because those classes are on our ULI campus, the classes are generally considerably smaller. One extra note is, I think you can sort of see down here where it says important, and students must have a 2 average in the German grading system in order to be admitted to University Duisburg-Essen. So this is also something that you should keep in mind, that you need to have very good grades in math in school as well as on your freshman final exam, because these will be taken into consideration by the University Duisburg-Essen after you complete the freshman program. This means for you as future students that when you apply and you say your first choice is University Duisburg-Essen, that we look at your school grades in math and see if you will meet this criteria. Now, I know you're asking, what is a 2? The German grading system, it's sort of like a B, but I wouldn't say it's absolutely like a B, but if you think of it in that, or a B plus, in that general range, this would be approximately. So it's not a fast number, but that's the closest I can give as an explanation. If you look on our website, you can scroll down a little bit and you'll see that, that it does explain how the grading system is explained. Here, there's a link and you can see exactly what the German grading system is about. So those are the 2 basic differences between the programs. The students at the FH Aachen, because the freshman program is based at the FH Aachen, so the students who continue their bachelor's degree at the FH Aachen, they're often quite happy here because they already know some of the surroundings. They have an internship in the university, they know the area, and their friends are here. So that's quite popular.
Okay. This is, I think, very interesting. So in continuation with the same question, if a student has chosen a particular progression, for example, they have chosen UDE as their first choice, is there a possibility to change the program and the progressing university after the freshman program?
No, sorry, they're not. Okay, it's a very good question. Sorry I have to answer so abruptly, but the answer is basically no. Once you have selected it and started in the program, it's not possible to change. After you've applied, if you want to change, you can send us an email and we will inform you if a change is possible. We, of course, have limited spaces in each track and we have to see if there are still spaces available. But once you start and get into the program, a change is no longer possible. And at the end, it is also no longer possible because your final certificate is only valid for the program which you've applied for and been admitted to.
All right. Okay. I think I asked the correct question because I think students would want to know this part of the change of plans is possible or not. Okay. Now coming to the M course, Ms. K, if you can just give us a brief idea about what is a prerequisite if a student is looking to study medicine in Germany.
Okay, first of all, for our program, the M course, you need to have previous knowledge of German at the level B1 with 90% or B2. I assume everybody is familiar with that system, so I won't go into that in detail. The more German you know, the better. The other requirement for the M course is very good grades, excellent grades in school. The German government, well, let's say this way, German medicine is very popular and very challenging in Germany, also very full, so only the very best students get accepted. So you need to have not only good results on your school certificates, but also on your final freshman certificate at the end of the freshman program. And of course, you need previous knowledge of German. That said, the M track is also an option for students who are interested in studying biology or psychology. So if your grades aren't so good, but you're interested and you know German, but you're interested in studying biology, this is definitely also an option for you. And in the past, I would say most of our students have got a space in medical school. I don't have the exact statistics because students don't always tell us what they're doing. We ask them and maybe they answer, maybe they don't. So we don't have exact statistics what they're doing, but the feedback I do have is that some students who didn't get in their first choice the first year studied biology and then went and got accepted the following year. I have heard of that happening, but keep in mind medicine is challenging for entrance as well. There are additional tests by the individual university, a test for medical ability or something like that. This depends on each individual university. And you need very good German, of course. That said, Germany needs doctors, so we're always in need of more doctors, so that's also something to keep in mind.
Right, okay. So the entrance exam for the M course, is it in German language?
Yes, the entrance exam for all of the German track is in German. And the entrance exam consists of a math exam and if you're in the English track FEP or the English to German track, it's an English exam. If you're going to study in the German track FEP in either engineering, the T course, W course for business, or the M course for medicine, psychology, and biology, then the entrance exam is math and German. So even the medical students have to take a math test.
All right, okay. Now coming to the entrance exam, since we are talking about the entrance exam and the mathematics as well, so we understand that the student will have to clear the entrance exam irrespective of whichever track or whichever program they are choosing. Now, what additional prerequisites, if there's any subject prerequisites or grade prerequisites required from the students while they're applying for the freshman program?
Okay, well, the admission board looks at the school grades, in particular for the engineering students and the business students, the math grades. Everybody needs math. The students who want to study medicine, they need good grades overall. So that's certainly a requirement that they be prepared for that. Other than that, some students after the entrance exam, they'll have an interview. Not all students, and the admission board will also look at that as well. The entrance exam, there's sample exams on our website and an explanation of what's covered. The math, there's a list of topics so you know how to prepare. There's also a short explanation written by our math teachers to say which topics you should be sure to focus on. The language is a half hour of grammar, roughly, and a half hour to write an essay. There are samples on the website, pretty much standardized kinds of tests.
All right. So the entrance exam is multiple choice questions?
Yeah, it's multiple choice. It doesn't matter if you take it online or in person. As I mentioned, we'll be offering it in person in the spring of 2025 in Dubai, because some students can't do it online for various reasons. In addition, as I mentioned before, I should like to mention again here that students who are interested in the University Duisburg-Essen have to have very good grades in math, because that's a requirement of that university on top of the freshman final certificate.
Okay. Now, moving ahead, there are a few questions where students are, because it's German language, they are quite scared about the German language and what if not. So they have certain questions regarding the student retention and dropout rates. So is there any case where the student had to drop out because they could not clear the freshman program? If you can just give overall process, like how it happens and how much they need to score and so on.
Okay, during the freshman program, we have a very low dropout rate. I would say maybe one student a year, maybe not even that many. Usually if a student leaves, maybe he or she is very homesick, or there's a family issue or a health issue or something. People don't usually drop out during the course. We have a support system, we have staff on campus, we have older students who live on campus. The teachers are happy to help. So if there's a problem, especially if you come to us early, we can help. However, students have to go to class. So I understand being nervous about German. As you can hear from my accent, I am not German, I'm American, and I didn't learn German until I was in my 30s. And so I think that if you're 10 years younger than that, it's much easier to learn language when you're still in school and still accustomed to studying. It's definitely possible to learn German. It's much easier to learn German in Germany, where you can practice on the sales clerks in the supermarket and the bus drivers and people like that, as well as our teachers, who are always happy to speak German with you, of course. And so the most important thing is, and this is what I get the feedback from the students as well, go to class. And we see in the statistics, if you go to class, if you do your homework, if you study for the test, you'll be fine. We do not want to kick you out. That's not our goal. Our goal is to have you pass. We are not a filter, we're a support system.
Right. Thank you so much. That's kind of assurance, I'm sure, for the students to take away from this podcast, for sure. Now, to lighten the whole academic and the freshman program, if you can just let us know what extracurricular activities or support, sports, if there's anything which students also do participate, and apart from studies, what additional they do in the freshman program.
Okay, well, I haven't mentioned it yet, but the students all live on our freshman campus, which is in a town called Geilenkirchen. It's very green. There are pictures on our website, or I can blend a few in here. If you give me a moment, I can send in a few pictures. But students live on campus. They're all required to live on, everyone's required to live on our freshman campus. This is a requirement of the program. So you're living in apartments with other students. You share a double room. Everybody shares a double room with another student. All the apartments are only one gender. So it's either all women, all men. You share a room with another person, and in the apartment there will be, depending on the size of the apartment, 4 to 8 people, and you share the bathroom and the kitchen with everybody in the apartment. So you're responsible for yourself in that sense. You will be preparing your own meals. We haven't really gotten to that yet, but this will be something happening. Extracurricular activities on the campus. We have an excellent music instructor. We have musical instruments. You can bring your own musical instrument. There are always 2 or 3 bands formed every year. Even if you've never played an instrument before, we have some instruments you can learn to play, the drums or the guitar. We had our Christmas party in early December. There were students up there who had never played an instrument, and they were playing backup in a band. That was a lot of fun to listen to them. The students have a really good time, so there is that kind of thing possible. In the front of the student housing, there's a large football, or as my American voice would say, soccer field. There's a large one in front of the building. The students can play soccer. In the spring, there's a soccer tournament every year that's very, very popular. There's basketball is offered regularly. The freshman campus is part of a larger area that does have a sports complex. The sports complex is private, so that but there's a fitness studio and you can play tennis or golf. If you want to do that, there are special student prices. That's not part of the freshman program, but some of our students do join that. There are bicycles that you can rent for the first half hour is free. So you can either use them to ride into town, first half hour, do your grocery shopping, bring your grocery shopping back to your room, or you can take a short ride for the day. The prices are very, very reasonable, and the bicycles are well maintained, so there's that option. As I mentioned, we had a Christmas party that was organized, and the student bands got up and did a lot of music and sang, and it was a lot of fun. In the spring, we have an open house, which is open for the community, and then the students really shine. They cook, they sing, they dance, they do all kinds of presentations, there's hobbies. Our staff that works full-time on the campus, they're always willing to help. So if you want to form a club, if it's a book club, or I heard last year there was a knitting club, somebody wanted to start a knitting club. So our staff helped the students organize that. So there are organized activities, the rest of it you can look into yourself. The students do have free public transportation. The train system in Germany is very good and is also very safe. You can take the train into Dusseldorf or to Aachen. You're on that train line. Anywhere in Germany, you will have a free ticket for free public transportation in our state. We think it will probably be for all of Germany. Unfortunately, not the high-speed trains, but you can go anywhere in Germany at this time. How that will look in a year, we're waiting for the new government elections, but you can ride anywhere in Germany for free on your ticket, or at least in our state, so you can go and look at anything you want. And students do that. They'll go away for half a day on the weekend. During the week, you're in class, right? Yeah. So during the week, you're in class, but on the weekend, you certainly have the chance to explore Germany.
Wow, that sounds refreshing. Now, since you have spoken about the accommodation that they are sharing, so I would like to ask a few more questions regarding the accommodation. Since it's a part of the freshman program, the accommodation, how is it, like the allocation of the rooms and everything? How is the process, if you can just give a brief idea?
Okay, rooms are not assigned until you arrive on campus. So when you say you're coming, then we make a note of that, and we will pick you up at the Dusseldorf airport, or the Dusseldorf train station, Cologne train station. You have to let us know. So it's included. The first time you come to Germany, we pick you up at the Dusseldorf airport, Dusseldorf train station, Cologne train station, so that you can find your way to campus. You just have to let us know in advance when you will be there, so that we can make sure to book it. That's usually 3 days, 72 hours ahead of time. We need to get somebody to get you. So that's that on campus. What else? What else was the rest of the question here?
Yeah, like how the allocation happens once they come.
Oh, the rooms. Okay. Once you arrive on campus, that's easy. Once you arrive on campus, you will get your room. Your roommate will be assigned. If you want to share a room with somebody else, you have to be on the same flight. You have to arrive on the same day. Otherwise, it's not possible to share the room with somebody. We can't arrange that ahead of time. We only have double rooms. There are no single rooms. So that's because of the way our campus is set up. So you can come in, you get your room, you get a arrival snack package with a little bit of food so that you don't starve if you're exhausted and can't get to the supermarket yet. You can drink tap water in Germany. It's perfectly safe. I do it every day, so you don't have to worry about being thirsty. You don't have to worry about bottled water. The tap water is perfectly safe. And we give you a snack package. We give you also bedding and sheets so that you can make your bed right away. And if you're not If you want to take a nap, you could, but most students want to see where they are and have a look around. We have in the first few days as students arrive during our arrival week, which starts on the 1st of October, we have a few activities planned to get you oriented to Germany, to the campus, get you sorted out where things are, things like that. That varies a little bit from year to year, but usually there's a good orientation program. Some of that academic orientation will be done ahead of time online. And then you start your classes, and that's a good way to meet new people and see what is happening.
That's good to know. So students, please take a note of this. You need to be on the same plane if you want your room to be allocated along with your friend. Yes, so this question is actually from most of the parents because they are worried about how my child will cook. So in your experience, what have you seen? The students, do they learn cooking or do they eat out? And what are the possible options available in and around the campus vicinity?
Okay, so speaking as a mother of children approximately the age of your students, you need to learn to cook, all right? This is a basic. You will be responsible for cooking, for doing your own laundry, and for cleaning your apartment. So if you can learn to do that before you come to Germany, you'll be ahead of the game. So there is no cafeteria service on campus. Students from different parts of the world have different ideas about what tastes good. So a cafeteria hasn't always been so successful because students from India have a different idea about what a good meal is than students in Brazil, for example. So you need to learn to cook. The kitchens are completely stocked with basic cooking pots, pans, dishes, cups, refrigerator, oven, those kinds of things. Any small devices such as a rice cooker or a coffee machine, you would have to supply yourself, but there are pots and pans and plates and everything like that, silverware, so you could actually start using it. It's all clean, you don't have to wash it first, it's all ready to go. You have the kitchens that are all set up. Learn to cook ahead of time. I know there are a lot of internet tutorials that I see, like for people who are very beginners. Sometimes the teachers do projects where to work with students to teach them one basic German dish just to practice their German and have some fun. So learn to peel a carrot or peel a potato, because this is an important part of German food. So get your potato peeler out and start peeling those carrots and potatoes. Students can order, of course. I always say ordering the pizza taxi every night is really expensive and really not very healthy. The healthiest way to get healthy food is to prepare your own. Students who live together can cook together. We see that as well, that they cook with their friends. There are some snack machines in the building with where you can buy small meals, but it's not really sufficient. You have to make your own meals. We see a lot of different things. Of course, you can buy prepared frozen food and stuff it in the oven, or you can start with fresh carrots, potatoes, and vegetables and meat and make your very delicious meal. Put it in the refrigerator and have it for 2 days. That's perfectly fine. Just don't keep it for 2 weeks. That will not end well.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Now, accommodation, we have understood that it's a part of the entire tuition fee for the freshman program. So if you can just give us the other aspects of what else is included in the tuition fee.
Pretty much everything except food and personal expenses. So it includes the teachers, the books, it includes projects, it includes for some students, well, for everybody, it includes your German lessons, your math, your physics, your chemistry, your biology, whatever courses you'll be taking. It includes your accommodation. We have excursions. It includes free public transportation in our state. We're hoping that stays for all of Germany, but as I said, it will be free public transportation in our state on buses and trains. Health insurance, it includes health insurance for the duration. It's private health insurance. It's very good health insurance. So, and it covers you. It's also the health insurance that you need to get your visa. So if you're admitted and you pay your fees, after you pay your fees, we send you the health insurance. You'll need that for your visa. Those are the most important things. It includes our support staff. It includes the extracurricular activities that I've mentioned, such as the music lessons. Yeah, pretty much everything you need except food and your personal needs. So if you decide to go bowling, of course you have to pay to go bowling.
Okay. So just to confirm, the tuition fee is 21,500 euros,
Yes.
right?
For the freshman program starting in October 2025, yes, it's going to be 21,500 euros. 500 euros, that includes 500 euros of that is your security deposit.
All right.
So if everything goes well, you'll get that back in the end.
Okay. So my next question to you is, are there any installment options possible, or any scholarship available for the international students?
Okay, all of our students in the freshman program are international students. Unfortunately, we can't offer any scholarships simply because we try to cover our costs, and a scholarship would be charging other students more. So that would not be fair. So we don't have any scholarships. Some students find scholarships in their home countries or on the DAAD website. So have a look around. Talk to Geinberry. Maybe they have a few ideas. I don't know the details of what's available in every country, but maybe they have a few suggestions. Keep in mind that after the completion of the freshman program, if you're studying at a public university in Germany, there's no tuition. So you only have your personal expenses, which is part of the blocked bank account. I think some of you are familiar with the blocked bank account that you have. It's right now, it's just under 12,000 euros a year, and that approximately just a little bit less than 1,000 euros a month, and that was to cover, according to the German government, all of your expenses in the bachelor's program, not in the freshman program. And if you're economical and you cook your meals instead of ordering the pizza taxi, you can certainly live on that. So we don't offer installments at this time. All the fees have to be paid. After admission, students get a letter that says, "Congratulations, you've been admitted. We're happy to have you join us." And a lot of information included in the information is information about the fee payment. In most cases, you need to pay the complete fees within about 4 weeks. If you're admitted in June, it may be shorter time simply because we want to make sure that you get all the paperwork you need to get your visa to get here on time.
Okay. Thank you so much for the cue for my next question, that is block bank account. So if you can just give us a brief idea about what is a block bank account, and is it difficult or is it taken care of by the freshman program?
Okay, the block bank account is required by the German embassy for international students coming to Germany. And at the moment, it's just under 1,000 euros a month or 12,000 euros a year, just a little bit. It's, I think, 994 euros a month. The German government calculates this based on cost of living, and it changes about every 4 or 5 years. So when most international students need to prove that they have this amount of money in a block bank account, which means it's a special bank account that you pay into this total amount of money, and you can take it out in increments once a month so that they know after 1 year you've used it all up, but you don't run out of money. The freshman program, because the accommodation and health insurance and other services are included in the freshman program fees, in most cases students do not need the blocked bank account. However, this depends on the German embassy, and we cannot predict what the German embassy will say or do because that seems to change frequently. So keep in mind, if the German government does require you to have a blocked bank account on top of the freshman program fees, which I hope doesn't happen, but which we have seen, unfortunately, this money belongs to the student. This is not our money, this is your money. This money belongs to you, and with this money you can pay your expenses throughout the year, like your groceries, like your food, like your bowling or whatever, if you do an extra activity, for example. So this belongs to you. Anything that's left over at the end of the year also belongs to you and can be rolled over into the blocked bank account that you will probably need for the bachelor's degree program. So once you finish the freshman program, your costs should be around approximately 12,000 euros a year for everything, if you live economically. I know that my daughters managed to do that. So it is possible, but you can't be very super extravagant, but it's possible to do it.
Right. Okay. Now moving ahead, since you have mentioned that within 4 weeks you need to make the payment. So once the students make the payment, full tuition fee payment and everything, by when the students will get the final admission letter so that they can start with your visa process?
We usually send that out within a week or two. We have to order the health insurance. We can't order the health insurance, for example, until after the student is paid, and we have to order it and we have to wait for it to come back. The money has to arrive. This is another issue that sometimes happens. The bank says, oh yes, the money will be there tomorrow, and it takes a week. We have no control over the banks. Okay, so usually within a couple of weeks, maybe less, depends on how fast the banks are and how fast the health insurance company is. We send all the documentation out. As soon as you get your admission letter, you should definitely start to look at the website of the German embassy and find out what's happening and how you can book an appointment, things like that. The earlier you book the appointment, the better.
Okay, so do you have any kind of assistance towards a visa appointments if in case students are not getting the appointments? Can freshman program influence the embassies or the consulates to provide the appointments to the students?
We have tried, but we have never been successful. The embassies pretty much do what they want, and they don't let themselves be influenced by universities. We wish it were different, but if you ask us to contact the embassy to get you an appointment, we can't do anything. We're sorry about that. We wish we could, but unfortunately, it's not possible.
Okay, so the only way is the student should apply as soon as possible and wait for the visa appointment to come through.
Yeah, I think that your agency, probably the Guineberry agency, probably knows more about that than I do.
All right. Okay. My last question regarding the visa. For the student, how long will be the visa? Because you've mentioned that this is going to be a 10 months program. So how long the visa will be given to the student, and how are they going to renew it once they have completed the freshman program?
Well, this has just changed. So this is new news. In the past, the students got a 3-month visa, and then we had to arrange that they got an extension. The German government has changed that procedure, and now the students get from their home country usually 1 year. Usually. I mean, like I said, sometimes the embassies do what they want. So the student usually gets 1 year, at which time he or she can come to the freshman program, complete the freshman program. The visa is specifically for the freshman program, for a foundation program. Once the student starts in a bachelor, which means when he or she has moved on, then they have to, excuse me, can you stop this a sec? My phone's slowly start up again. Sorry about that. You can edit that out, right?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. I don't know if you could hear the phones here, but they were exploding in my ears. So, where were we?
For the visa.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the students have to organize that themselves. The visa is generally valid for 1 year. When they change to the bachelor's programs, they will have to get it renewed. It usually will expire about that time, so this is all good timing for the students. But because the visa is specific for the freshman program, when they start the bachelor's, they'll have to get a new visa for the bachelor.
All right. Okay. So we have come to the last section of our questions, that is student support and future planning. So what kind of academic or career counseling services are provided, especially for the students who are applying for the freshman program but they don't have a direct progression? For example, M course or any other program where there is no direct progression. How the freshman program assisting the students?
Okay, we have our staff on campus. It works with the students, well, explains to the students how to do this. So there are websites such as myguide.de, which is a DAAD website, where they can look up universities and investigate possible options. Some students can only study afterwards in North Rhine-Westphalia. Others can study everywhere in Germany. That depends on their school certificates. We discussed at the very beginning of this presentation that not all students need to meet the German government requirements for admission to German universities or to foundation programs, Studienkolleg. Those of them who don't meet them, those requirements are restricted to North Rhine-Westphalia. Other students can apply anywhere in Germany. There are websites where they can investigate this. There are possibilities for the students to visit the other universities. They have the train ticket. They can get on the train and go visit the universities. There's information available on the students how to fill out the forms, what they need to do to complete a university application form. So our staff on campus is available as support there. They publish information about that the students can review so that they know what's happening.
Right. Ms. K, you have also highlighted in the beginning regarding the internship opportunities as well. So if you can just elaborate on that. Is that available for all the students coming for the freshman program, irrespective of the track and the program?
No, the internships are only available for the English to German track students going to the FH Aachen or the University Duisburg-Essen. They are set up for the students in those programs to meet the exact admission requirements of each of those universities. The other programs, the students have to organize the internships themselves. They can read that information on the website. The other students, they finish their freshman program early enough in the spring that they do have the opportunity before the bachelor's degree programs start to look for internships either in Germany or in their home country.
All right. Okay. And my last question to you. Any kind of, since you are assisting students for the freshman programs in so many years, we ourselves are associated for so many years, what are the challenges you've seen that the students have faced when they have come to the freshman program? Any kind of tips you would want to give to the students, to the parents who are listening to our podcast?
Well, my first tip is learn German. Even if you're not going to study in German, you need to learn German because you will be in Germany, and not everybody speaks perfect German here. Not everybody speaks perfect English here, sorry. Not everybody speaks perfect English here. This is Germany, so learn German. You'll be much happier. You'll be able to understand the street signs. You can talk to the cashier at the supermarket. You can talk to the bus driver, ask him where you need to change the bus. Your life will be better that way. Have more chance to actually get grounded in Germany. The advice we give all students is go to class. Go to class, do your homework. That sounds very funny. We had our scholarships. Some of the students, like we talked about scholarships before. What we do offer is not scholarships, but awards at the end of the freshman program to the top students. Top not only in terms of grades, but also in being active in activities around campus, around the freshman campus, being involved in the different activities. So, and some of them, when they were asked, give tips to the new freshmen, that was go to class, do your homework. So this seems to be a common theme. And I said, be prepared for things to be different. This is a challenge. Germany is not like your home country. I've been in Germany for quite a long time. As I mentioned before, I'm American. And it's different here than it is in the United States. It's different here than it is in India. Be prepared for new things. Be prepared for cultural differences. And learn to cook.
Right. Thank you so much, Ms. K. It was an absolute pleasure to have you with us. And it is always wonderful to speak to you. And I'm sure today's podcast session will definitely be very, very helpful for the students. I have also learned a lot of new things, irrespective of the fact that I have been knowing you, working with you for so many years. But every time I speak to you, we learn something new from you. So thank you so much, Ms. K, to accept our invitation and to join the podcast today.
Thank you very much. It was nice of you to have me with you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.